Welcome to our Legendary Cars series on the Short Tansy channel. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an absolute icon that not only turned heads, but also packed more innovation than many modern cars, the Nissan 300ZX. This isn't just about raw horsepower. It's about a vehicle that truly redefined what a sports car could be, seamlessly blending cutting-edge technology with undeniable style across its two distinct generations, the Z31 and the Z32. Get ready to unpack some truly surprising facts and explore why this machine remains, well, such a legend. So let's start at the beginning, maybe. The 300ZX era with the Z31 that first rolled out in 1983, third generation of Nissan Z-Car line. What was the core vision driving its creation, and what kind of power was Nissan initially packing under its hood?
Yeah, so the Z31's journey actually began quite a bit earlier. Design work kicked off as far back as 1979, with Kazumatsu Takagi leading the charge. The vision was crystal clear. Nissan wanted a modern 3-liter Grand Tourer. And, for anyone not familiar, a Grand Tourer, that's basically a high-performance luxury car, right? Designed for comfortable, high-speed, long-distance travel.
Right.
Yeah.
Built for the road trip, but still sporty.
Exactly. And the Z31 was a huge deal because it introduced Nissan's brand new VG Series V6 engine. This was, well, monumental. It became the first ever Japanese mass-manufactured V6.
Wow, the first one.
The very first mass-produced one, yeah. In its naturally aspirated form, it made around 160 horsepower. But the turbocharged version, the VG30ET, that really pushed the envelope for its time. It delivered 200 horsepower in the U.S. market. And actually, in some export versions, it delivered even more.
Oh, interesting. Why more?
Well, fewer emission restrictions in some places, so Nissan could really let it breathe, flex its engineering muscle a bit more. It showed Nissan was thinking globally, positioning the Z31 to compete everywhere, adapt to different markets. Pretty forward-thinking stuff.
That's fascinating about the engine strategy. So, okay, beyond just what was under the hood, what did that Grand Tourer vision mean for the driver's experience?
Yeah.
What kind of advanced tech and luxury features did the Z31 offer? Things that really made it stand out in the competitive 80s market.
It's kind of remarkable how much technology Nissan managed to pack into the Z31. Especially when you think about what was standard in cars back then. I mean, this thing was genuinely ahead of its time in some ways. Standard features included conveniences like a powered retractable antenna, power windows.
Stuff we take for granted now, but maybe not then.
Exactly. And even power adjustable shocks, which was quite sophisticated for the era. But what really grabbed people's attention, I think, were the optional features. Imagine getting into your car in the mid-'80s and seeing a revised digital dash that looked straight out of, like, Knight Rider or something.
Oh, yeah.
Or, and this is the really quirky one, the voice warning system. People called it Bitchin' Betty.
Oh, I've heard about that. It actually talked to you.
It literally did. It would say things like door ajar or fuel level low. It was definitely novelty, maybe a bit annoying sometimes, but it absolutely spoke volumes about Nissan's push to integrate advanced electronics. Made the Z31 feel super futuristic.
Wild. And I remember hearing about some truly special versions of the Z31 too, ones that really dialed up the luxury and the performance. What were some of those standouts?
Oh, absolutely. Nissan created some properly memorable editions. The 1984 50th anniversary edition, for instance, that was just a showstopper.
Yeah.
It had this really distinctive silver and black two-tone paint job, striking gold inlays, a special body kit with flared fenders.
That's very 80s glam.
Totally. And those eye-catching gold inlay 16-inch wheels. It was a real luxury statement. It even came with mirror-finished T-tops and pretty much every upgrade option available from the factory. Then, a few years later, in 1988, you got the Shiro Special. Now, this one was all about performance, pure driving focus.
Okay, so less flash, more dash.
Exactly. Offered exclusively in pearl white, 5-speed manual transmission only. It came equipped with stiffer springs, beefier anti-sway bars, the stuff that helps reduce body roll in corners.
Right, tightens things up.
Yeah, plus a non-adjustable suspension and a viscous limited slip differential. That differential is key, right? Helps get the power down more effectively, especially coming out of corners, or if one wheel starts slipping, gets you better grip. The Shiro Special was, in fact, the fastest production import from Japan at the time, capable of an impressive 153 miles per hour.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it really highlights Nissan's commitment. They were pushing both luxury and performance boundaries simultaneously with the Z31, covering both bases.
That's an incredible foundation they laid. But then, just a few years later, 1989, Nissan launches the Z32. And it felt like, I don't know, a complete revolution compared to the Z31. What was the driving force behind such a radical shift in design. And who was the visionary behind that dramatic change?
The Z32 was, yeah, a monumental leap forward is the right way to put it. A complete restyling. It moved decisively away from that angular 80s look towards what people called sexier rounded curves, much smoother. The designer, Toshio Yamashita, he was apparently quite the outlaw, as you put it.
How so?
Well, the story goes, he famously broke company rules by only submitting a Z-Car design, even though he was asked for other concepts, too. He was just absolutely adamant about his singular vision for a true sports car. It had to be lower, wider, far more aerodynamic. He even had this peculiar analogy.
Ew.
He likened the car's final rear shape to a piece of corn.
The piece of corn? Serious?
Seriously, it sounds odd, I know, but it actually spoke to his desire for this uniquely organic, cohesive form. A really bold departure, aiming for something timeless, not just trendy.
Okay, I can sort of see that, the way it tapers.
Yeah.
And speaking of design details, I've heard there's quite a story behind those distinctive Z32 headlights.
Yeah.
What was the challenge there, and how did Yamashita's vision win out?
You're right. The headlights are a legendary part of the Z32 story. Became a major point of contention during development, apparently. The engineers, understandably, maybe wanted a more upright, conventional design. It would have been much easier to integrate, meet regulations, all that practical stuff.
Makes sense from their perspective.
Sure. But Yamashita fiercely fought for his original, really radical 60-degree angle. He believed that shallow angle was absolutely crucial for the car's sleek, low-slum profile, and importantly, its aerodynamic efficiency. And to make it work without compromising light output, he even suggested using small projectors, which was brand new tech back then, to create the beam.
So he was pushing for new technology just to get the look right.
Exactly. And his design was so impactful, so ahead of its time, that Lamborghini actually ended up using the very same headlight units later on the updated Diablo.
No way. Lamborghini used Nissan headlights.
The very same ones. It really makes you wonder, right? How often do designers push engineering that hard, demanding new tech just to realize an aesthetic vision? It's a testament to his tenacity, his foresight.
That's truly remarkable. So, okay, moving from the revolutionary design to what powered it. The Z30 had that groundbreaking V6. How did the Z32 then evolve that powerhouse? What kind of performance did it unleash?
Well, it's interesting because the Z32's engine was actually the only major component directly carried over from the Z31, and it's a big but. It was anything but a simple carryover. It underwent really extensive revisions. Crucially, it gained dual overhead camshafts, DOHC.
Okay, explain DOHC quickly for us.
Sure. It basically means 2 camshafts per cylinder bank instead of 1. Allows for much more precise control over the engine's valves when they open, how long they stay open, better breathing. It also got variable valve timing, VVT, which means the engine could literally adjust how its valves opened and closed based on RPM. More efficiency, more power, across a wider range.
So smarter breathing for the engine.
Essentially, yes. And while the natural aspirated version made a very respectable 222 horsepower, the real star was the twin-turbo intercooled model, the VG30DET engine. This beast produced a full 300 horsepower in the U.S. market.
300 horsepower in 1990, that was serious muscle.
Oh, yeah. And while there was that infamous gentleman's agreement in Japan that supposedly limited horsepower, leading to some cars being detuned from the factory, these Z32 twin turbos were absolute rockets, capable of hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in a blistering 5.0 seconds flat.
Wow. 5 seconds. That was supercar territory back then.
Absolutely. Truly exceptional for the era, putting it in a very elite company.
Incredible. And clearly, it wasn't just about the raw power, was it? I mean, Nissan packed this car with so much other groundbreaking tech. What other innovations did they integrate? What made the Z32 such a technological marvel?
Not at all. Power was just part of the story. Nissan really threw everything it had at the Z32. It was actually one of the first production cars developed entirely using CAD software computer-aided design. They leveraged a Cray 2 supercomputer. Yes, a
supercomputer to design a car.
Yep. To model and simulate parts digitally with unprecedented precision. It cut down development time, improved accuracy dramatically, really cutting-edge stuff for automotive design back then. Technologically, it also featured optional 4-wheel steering called Super HICs.
4-wheel steering, how did that work?
It wasn't just a gimmick. It subtly turned the rear wheels in the same direction as the front ones at higher speeds. Effectively, it made the car feel like it had a shorter wheelbase, making it incredibly agile and stable in corners. Especially useful for such a wide car.
Ah, so it helped it feel nimble despite its size.
Precisely. And on the safety front, remember this is the early 90s, it offered advanced features like anti-lock brakes, ABS, and even dual airbags, which were far from standard back then, and inside, the luxury continued. Six-way adjustable power seats, automatic temperature control air conditioning. It was incredibly comfortable and sophisticated for long drives, too. It really felt like a complete package, a showcase of Nissan's engineering.
That's just an astonishing list of features for the time. So, given all this innovation, this performance, this style, how did the market react to the Z32? And how did it truly stack up against those other legendary Japanese sports cars emerging in that incredible era? The Supra, the RX-7.
Oh, the market reception was overwhelmingly positive. The accolades just poured in. It won Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year, Automobile Magazine's Design of the Year.
Right.
Road and Track consistently named it one of the 10 best cars in the world, and Car and Driver put it on their 10 best list for all 7 years it was produced in America. That's serious recognition.
7 years straight on the 10 best list? That's dominant.
Absolutely. The Z32 was, without a doubt, a key player in what many consider the absolute peak of the Japanese sports car era in the 90s, standing shoulder to shoulder with those formidable rivals like the Toyota Supra, the Mazda RX-7. Now, enthusiasts might debate forever which car offered more raw, unadulterated track performance, right?
Sure, those arguments never end.
But the 300ZX consistently stood out for its unique blend. It offered precise handling and a really sophisticated level of luxury. Its advanced features, that plush interior. It made other sports cars of the time, even revered ones like the Corvette, look kind of Spartan in comparison, you know?
Yeah.
It offered this level of refinement few competitors could match, while still delivering genuinely thrilling performance.
It certainly sounds like an absolute dream car for any enthusiast, then and now. But what's the real talk? What's the reality when it comes to actually owning such a complex, technologically advanced machine, decades later?
Yeah, this brings up a really important point for anyone looking at classic car ownership, especially complex ones like this. While it's captivating, incredibly desirable, the 300ZX, particularly that Z32 twin turbo, well, it gained a bit of a reputation for being over-engineered and consequently pretty challenging to maintain.
Challenging how?
Excellent.
Difficult.
Both, often. Owners frequently faced expensive and difficult repairs. I mean, I've heard mechanics joke that if you see a Z32 roll into the shop, you know your lift is going to be occupied for a while. Many common tasks, things like replacing the turbos or even just a water pump, often required literally pulling the entire engine out of the car.
Pulling the engine for a water pump. Wow.
Yeah. Just imagine the labor costs involved in that. And even seemingly simpler things, like replacing fuel injectors, could turn into a real headache because the engine bay is just so incredibly crammed. Everything is packed in tight. Plus, with modern fuels containing ethanol, those original injectors could fail relatively quickly, sometimes in just a year or two, adding to the potential pain points. It was a masterpiece of packaging and performance, no doubt, but that density made it, well, let's say a mechanic's nemesis sometimes.
Wow, okay. That certainly adds a layer of reality to the dream, doesn't it? So, despite these maintenance quirks, these potential challenges, what does all this mean for the Nissan 300ZX's place in automotive history and its collectability today?
Well, despite those well-documented maintenance challenges, the Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo, especially maybe a clean 1991 model or one from that era, is undeniably a highly sought-after collector's item, no question. Its value has been steadily appreciating over time, particularly for well-maintained original examples. Its legacy is clearly seen, in the continued evolution of the Z series, which still carries some of its design DNA today. The 300ZX remains a true masterpiece of automotive design and engineering. It inspires admiration, respect for that unique balance it struck, performance, luxury, groundbreaking innovation. It holds a very special place for collectors, particularly, I think, among millennials who grew up with posters of it on their walls, dreaming of owning one someday. It represents that golden era of Japanese sports car manufacturing, and its influence, well, it continues to resonate.
Yeah, what really stands out to me from this deep dive is how the Nissan 300ZX, especially that Z32, truly represented a leap into the future, a genuine time machine from its era, packed with tech that still feels advanced. It pushed boundaries, it captivated a whole generation, and it left this indelible mark on automotive design and performance. But it also raises, I think, a fascinating question for us today, maybe for you listening. As cars become ever more complex, more software-driven, integrated in ways we couldn't imagine back then, how do we balance that desire for cutting-edge innovation with the long-term realities? Maintenance, repairability, accessibility down the road. Is the sheer joy, the unique experience of owning and driving such a highly engineered machine, is it worth the potential challenges, the costs of keeping it on the road for decades to come? It's definitely something to ponder as you reflect on this incredible piece of automotive history. Yes, we have come to the end of our Shortanji podcast today. Don't forget to subscribe to Shortanji channel and like our video. See you in the next episode.